Hello, hello, and welcome to the Leap to Success podcast. I am so excited to be interviewing today one of our Leap community members, Suzanne Mitchell. And for those of you who are just tuning in to the Leap for Success podcast, just to let you know, it is the conduit by which we share women's stories of courage, bravery, success, and diversity. Each week, we interview women entrepreneurs and leaders that have taken the leap in their lives and inspire our global listeners to be more, have more, and show up more so they can live a life filled with joy and happiness through believing in themselves. So, with that being said, we're going to jump right in. I know Suzanne, and I'm so excited for this interview today because I just always learn something every time I talk to Suzanne. So, let's just introduce you to the world. So, tell our listeners a little bit about your story of you and what makes you so awesome.
Thank you for having me, Mary. I'm excited. I am Suzanne Mitchell. I own Zamar Screen Printing. This is our 31st year in business, which
Yay!
has had its ups and downs, as you can imagine. But we do screen printing, embroidery, promotional products. So we primarily help businesses get noticed with branding. So that's in the form of corporate clothes, school attire, things like that. We can help with trade shows. And then we also do company stores, which is a huge part of what we do. We set up a platform where people can send all their people there, order clothes, and they don't have to do anything, no stock, no sending out, no distribution. So it's very seamless and people can make money or not. They can just pass that straight across to their employees. But yeah, so it's a great
Yes.
business. We love branding stuff.
Love it, love it. And it's so needed. And she does all these fun, unique stuff from everything from a pen to, hand clappers like this. So love all of the fun things that you get to do. It must be a really fun job to be able to help people find something that represents their business, right?
Absolutely. The funnest part is talking to people about what do they want to do? Who are they trying to reach? Who are they trying to touch or ultimately get back into their company? And just talking about how old are they? What kind of walks of life are they? Are they men? Are they women? That makes such a difference in what you maybe want to hand out to people. And so
Yeah.
anybody can go online and just order something. But I think it's important to talk about like, what is it you want this thing to accomplish? What are you trying to get out there? And so it's definitely the best part of the job is talking to other business owners and figuring out, what are they going and who are they seeing, and that's the fun part for me.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the brilliant things about any conversation. Like I said, every time I talk to Suzanne, I learn something new, right? Because she is talking to so many people all the time and hearing about who are their customers, what are their customers' pain points, how do they need to get in touch with their customers, what are they doing to build relationships with their customers, right? So Suzanne is just such a wealth of information about kind of what's happening out there in the business world and how people are taking care of the people that are important to those businesses, right? So we're going to put all of Suzanne's contact information in the show notes, so you'll be able to reach out to her, schedule a call with her, just have an amazing conversation. And if you need promotional products or her web stores, we're going to talk about those again a little bit later in the show. But I encourage you to really reach out to Suzanne, start following her newsletter, link to her on LinkedIn. You will be better off for having her in your world. I can tell you that for sure. So,
Thank you, Mary.
yes, yes. So the name of the podcast is Leap to Success, right? So tell us about a time when you had to take a leap in your business or your personal life and what then success looked like and maybe how long it took to find that success.
Yeah, well, I would say our very first leap was starting this business. Was 22 years old. We'd only been married a couple years,
Hmm.
and my husband worked for a large screen printer, and they burnt to the ground. Literally, they
Oh,
had a fire in the building, and they were no longer going to go forward. And so my husband came home and said, "I think we should start a screen printing company." And I had sold insurance. I knew nothing about this industry. I mean, didn't know anything about screen printing, how it worked, clothing, anything. And that was a huge leap. But I was like, okay, let's do this. So
yeah.
I took what little sales knowledge I have and we jumped out there. So we were pretty instantly successful for a little
Right.
bit. because there was some clients just waiting to have screen printing done who
Yeah.
were working with the other company. But it became apparent really quick we needed to grow faster than we had capital to grow. So we
Hmm.
had made some really poor decisions in getting equipment leases that were really expensive, and we had to overcome all that. And that took a lot of years. It took a lot of
Hmm.
years. I'd say the first 10 years of this business were doing great, struggling, struggling, doing great. It's
Yeah.
just an up and down. It wasn't like we were instantly successful and this has been a breeze the whole time. It took a lot of guts and resilience. And, you just have to have an attitude to succeed.
Hmm.
I wasn't going to let this take me down. And so, but we had to do other things. We did other jobs, we did other outsourced, we did all kinds of things to survive. But I was like, we're going to do this no matter what. But
Nice.
adversity comes at you at every angle. We've had other things. We had a check ring come in and steal a whole bunch of checks from us, and we had $23,000 we lost in a day, literally a day. And
Yikes.
the bank didn't back us because they weren't locked. That was the final decision. We're not going to back you
Mm.
because the checks aren't lost. And it was like, you just feel like, well, that's it. We're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I'm done.
if,
I'm
okay,
out.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but I think if you stay in that spot, everybody starts in that spot. I don't
Hmm.
care how successful you are, I don't care how positive a person you are. I think your first reaction is, well, forget it. I can't do this. I'm done. This is
Yeah.
terrible. But it's the steps you take after that. It's like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. Nobody died, we can fix this. And
Yeah.
was it a long struggle? Was it hard to not have that backed? Sure. But we eventually overcame. And I think so much of that has to do with your attitude and just the steps you take. Just because the first step isn't the right one, take the next one and the next
Yeah.
one and the next one. And sometimes you got to go right instead of left. But it's just that general attitude of, I can make it. I can do this. I'm a smart person. I have my act together. We're going to figure this out. And I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of it. But I think nobody thinks successful businesses go through that.
Right.
But everybody goes through that. We all go through that. You doubt your decisions as a parent, you doubt your decisions as a business owner. It's just
Hmm.
part of life, but it's the steps you continue to take that make the difference.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that message. I love that message. And it's
Yeah.
so powerful because I think sometimes we get almost, sold a bill of goods, right? So you go on the internet, you see all these courses and workshops and other people, oh, take my course and you can make $100,000 in 6 weeks, right? Or sign up for TikTok or whatever. TikTok's in peril, right? Right
Yeah,
now. So sign
exactly.
up for whatever that is. Just get on this social media platform and you can be a
Yeah.
millionaire in six
Yeah.
months, right? And so people don't, we see a lot of that messaging in our world
Oh man.
and we get kind of convinced that it's just going to be this easy ride and there's never any struggles, right? But anybody who runs their own business knows there is a lot of hard work. It takes a lot
Yeah,
of hard work. There's not a business out there that's just instant click and you're rich, right? So,
absolutely.
um, how did you cultivate that kind of we can figure it out attitude?
Oh, how did I think some of it is just who I am. I'm
Hmm.
a get upset about something and then, okay, we're going to fix it. I'm not a live in that things are bad place.
Yeah.
It's just not who I am. So that helps. And then because I'm not that way and I'm kind of the top, I think
Yeah.
everybody gets behind that. So I have some team members who maybe would wallow in that. No, this is terrible. But
Yeah.
I choose to say, okay, then what can we do? Let's figure out what is the next steps. And I don't have all the answers. I'm one person. I
Hmm.
need my whole team to come together and figure out, okay, let's try this. Did we ever think of this? Could we do this?
Yeah.
And you look at all the steps. And so I think, you need a good mentor. I think
Hmm.
everybody, I don't care how long you've been in business, you need a good mentor and you need coaching. I think, I
Hmm.
know you do coaching and I've
Yeah.
worked with me, but you need somebody else to bounce your ideas off and think through those things and get everything out on paper. And then you need people to help you implement it. So I think getting the right team around you is everything. You can be the best leader on the plan it. But if you don't have a team with you and all working in the same direction, it's impossible to get on the right road. You're just
Yeah,
struggles. And so I think it's so important that you surround yourself with people who also aren't going to say, "Oh, that's it, we're done." There's
right.
people that
Yeah,
are like,
you're
"No,
checking
okay,
out.
let's
Yeah.
figure this out." Yeah, because there are people like that. Everybody has somebody in their life that's just like, "Well, I'm done. I quit. I'm just
Yeah,
finished." Well,
yeah,
that's not helpful in a crisis. It's just not. You have to
right.
have people around you who are going to help you see that road and get to it.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that advice. I love that advice. So really building your team of, support within your business. So it could be the people you hire, your W-2s or contractors, right? But then what are those outside sources and how are you filling your mind and keeping your mindset positive and seeing other people that have gone through those struggles and really, come out the other side.
Yeah.
And sometimes we look at, we see somebody that's successful and we think, oh my gosh, they're just so successful. I could never be like them. And we don't realize that they've been struggling for 20 years. And then this is finally the year that they got in front of you, right? And you haven't seen
Yeah.
their struggles the whole way. So we
Yeah.
forget that everybody's had some of those struggles and those doubts.
Yeah.
Um,
People assume you're lucky. I've got
exactly.
told that a lot through my life. Oh, you're so lucky. Everything comes to you or you're able to whatever. And I try to tell people, you
Yeah.
realize hasn't always been this easy and it hasn't always been this smooth.
Right.
Just because somebody looks like that on the top doesn't mean they're not, that duck meme where they're
Right. Yeah.
sailing across and their legs are, that's part of life. Like
Yeah.
everybody you perceive as super successful, probably sometime, if not right now, is paddling like nobody's business.
Yes.
That's part of life. And so perception can be very, you just assume you're the only one that's struggling. Everybody else is
Yes.
doing great. I'm the only one struggling. Not
Yeah.
true. Yeah. The
Not
other
true.
advice I have on that is talk to people in your industry because so much of the time, what you're struggling with is something industry specific. And if
Hmm.
you can get to trade shows or groups or whatever of people who do what you do, you start to hear, oh, I'm not the only one that has this happen with customers or can't find this product or whatever your
Hmm.
problem is. That's a great place to hear. And you just realize, okay, I'm going through what everybody else is going through, and then it doesn't feel so bad.
Yes, that's great
Yeah.
advice too, specifically within your industry, right? So I run peer advisory boards that have people from different industries come together, once a month and really share
Yeah.
ideas and create a space that they can be vulnerable and say, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need a better system for this. I don't like
Yeah.
what the system I have, and get advice from each other. But if you can go to somebody within your industry, that's even better. You're going to get even more knowledge, and it may take building some relationships so you can get, people want to project this image like everything's great in my business, I'm wonderful, everything's great. So
Exactly.
you might have to work at building some relationships so that you can have those deeper conversations about what's really happening within the industry and what their struggles are.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Suzanne, you are brilliant at building relationships with people. So, what kind of advice would you give to people that are getting ready to take the leap, right, to start their own business or scale up or do something new with their business, and they need to build relationships to do that? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I've always been in sales, but I'm
Hmm.
not a quote salesperson. I'm
Right.
probably
We
the
all
least.
are in sales, whether we
Yeah,
realize it or not. Yeah.
exactly. But I'm probably the least salesy person you'll meet. I'm not, I'm not naturally a hardcore salesperson. And so,
Yeah.
I just strive to find one person, whether if you go to a networking event, which I highly suggest, the best way in the beginning to get to know people is go where a lot of people in business are, but
Hmm.
just strive to talk to one person. I'm not looking to meet 50 people that night. I need a couple people that I made a real connection with and really talk to people. And that doesn't mean immediately saying what you do and how they could buy from you and let's get this going.
Yeah.
That is not, it's about relationships. I want to know people. We have kids. Where are you from? Where and
Hmm.
that just builds on itself. And then if you can meet with them outside of that meeting, and then, I work hard to get everybody on LinkedIn and connect with people on Facebook and, get them on my newsletter. All those things just put them in my world. But I really, really watch what's really happening with people. Like I'm on Facebook because I want to know if the executive I work with or want to work with just went to Hawaii or lost their dog or whatever. That
Hmm.
is huge connection. When I can reach out and say, "Oh, your vacation looked amazing." That's not salesy, but man, do they respond. I rarely
Yeah.
don't get a response to that. And so I think relationships is paying attention to what people are interested in and be interested genuinely. Not,
Yes.
you can't be fake. You got to really be interested in people and find people you have common interest with. I got huge business from hockey teams when my kids played hockey because where I
Hmm.
was at? The ice rinks with people who had teams and needed fundraising. And, wherever you're at, be present with your business, but not in a salesy format. Just it comes up if you're just
Yeah.
really talking to people. One of my earliest sales coaches I had used to tell me, if you have beautiful cookies and you never ask anybody if they want any, you're probably never going to get rid of your cookies.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he's like, always say what you do in a non-salesy way.
Yeah.
Let people know what you do. You can, when they're like, "How are you doing? How was your week?" "Great, but man, we had a lot of production this week," or whatever. "Oh, what do you do?" That's, it just happens. And then you're
Yeah.
interested in them and they're like, "Oh, you screen printing? I need that." So, genuinely getting to know people is so much easier than cold calls or cold emails or whatever.
Yes.
That's a lot of
Hmm.
rejection, and I don't really like rejection. So
Yeah.
I just
Nobody
want to
does.
warmly talk to people. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. It's such a skill that you have. And one of Suzanne's taglines for herself is the matriarch of Zamar. Zamar Screen Printing is her business company, right? And so you do come across as this warm, caring, nurturing person, right? And I think that's why it's easy for you to kind of build these relationships. But that is a skill we can learn to develop and work on. And like you said, you've been working on it through your 30 years of running your business, right? And so I think that's really important advice for us to say is, people do business with people, not businesses, right? So
Yeah.
how we make them feel, how we make them feel seen and heard and recognized can go
Yeah.
so far in them wanting to do business with us. And it doesn't have to be a big salesy push, right? It can be something as
Absolutely.
simple as let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
And if I can
And I
help you,
think
great. If I can't, yeah,
reading books and going to things to learn how to make conversation. If that's a hard thing for you, then read up on it. Get some
hmm,
things like, okay, I'm going to ask about their jewelry, comment on their beautiful red glasses, whatever.
yeah,
Think of three or four things like, okay, when I see this person, what could I compliment them on or whatever? Just have something in mind. Then that, most people are pretty outgoing and
right,
will reciprocate. Rarely do you come up with somebody who's just won't talk back. If you
yeah,
just come on not salesy, if you just come on as a person, they're
yeah,
pretty willing to talk to you. And just capture all those people. That's the other thing. Capture them. Once you have them, you can't be
hmm,
like, "That was a great conversation. That's it. I'm never going to talk to them again." Like, you
right,
need to get with them on LinkedIn. You need to get them on your newsletter list. You need to, we do a postcard campaign. We send out handwritten postcards to our huge client base. But you know what
yeah,
I put on there? "How was your Hawaii vacation? How was your new dog?" Whatever. But I
yeah,
know that because I'm watching what they're doing. And that's
yeah,
that relationship. So you do have to make sure you've captured them in a way that it's continual. One conversation isn't going to turn into a huge sale. I mean, it could, but that's
right.
not the norm. You're going to have to, work on that relationship slowly.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's a great way for a leap for many people is going to a networking event, right? Or maybe it's picking up the phone or reaching out to somebody and saying, "Hey, do you want to meet for a coffee?" And that may cause them a lot of anxiety, right? So I think you've given some great examples of how to make it more conversational and taking the pressure off of that conversation. It's just the first of many conversations. It's not a one and done, like you buy from me or I'm out and we're never talking again, right? So if you go in with that attitude, it's probably not going to be very successful. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love that way that you build relationships and you really care for people and are keeping up with what's going on with them. So um, let's see if I have another question for you. Um, tell us a little bit more about Zamar and what you do. And you mentioned fundraisers before and sports teams and some of the other people that you work with. So tell us a little bit about that. I know you have these amazing web stores. So tell our listeners about those.
Yeah. We have completely free to the end user web stores. So we talk through. So say I'm working with a sports team and say they're the Eagles and they only want to offer things on blue and black and pink or whatever. They get full choice of that. So we help them design a line of clothing and it goes up on a web store. So they may offer a hoodie and a pair of pants and a tank or whatever they want to offer. They get full control over that as the organization. And then say I'm going to sell that hoodie for them for $25. That's what we've just agreed on. I'm going to print as many as you have. And so
Hmm.
they list it on the web store for 30. And then that difference on every piece that we sell, they get back as a fundraiser. So it's a great
Nice.
way for them to get their name out there. And the success of those fundraisers completely are dependent on how good a list and how well you can distribute it. So you have to have a good newsletter list, a good Facebook following, a good way to get to your fans, whoever that
Hmm.
might be. And then they're very, very successful because I don't have access to your people, but I can give you all the technology, get all the product, and make it easy to put together. So some people choose to do it that way. Some businesses, same thing, they get full choice over what kind of professional gear they want to sell and bags and things like that. They may give their employees each $100. So there's a coupon code issued. They get to go and buy for free $100 worth of merchandise, and then we bill the corporation for those orders. So that's a great way they work. I work with a
Nice.
certain amount of contractors that when a new guy comes on, they need to be able to get gear for the full 5-day work week plus hats. So they just send them to the website. They order all their stuff, it comes, and then it's billed to the company. So, what that
Nice.
eliminates is all the headache in HR. It is so hard when HR is busy working on payroll and benefits and all these things, and somebody comes in the office and says, I need 5 small t-shirts and I need a hat and I need a beanie. And you
Yeah.
write that note and you write it down as a medium. It happens a lot. That's not their main job. They're busy. And then those get ordered, and now they got stock that nobody can wear, and they got to reorder the stuff. This puts all that on the employee has to take that as themselves, get on, do it, order the right size. And so we just take all of that work out of whoever in the office is trying to gather that, which is not an
Nice.
easy job. I know that.
Hmm.
And then the same thing, if you get 100 orders that come in, usually the box goes to the business person, and now they're like, okay, Sarah's a medium and Bob's a
Hmm.
large. We take all that out of people's hands. We basically put the garments in a bag and it says Bob's items and what it is, and all they have to do is hand him his bag. Our phone number's on
Hmm.
there. If the size is not right, if whatever's not going, we handle all of that. So we just make it super streamlined and easy for businesses to work with us, organizations, anybody who just needs merchandise into their people's hands.
Nice, nice. I know working as when my kids were in school and working for swim teams and the band association and all that stuff and trying to keep inventory of so many sizes of shirts and how many do we sell and then you got to store them somewhere and then they didn't sell this year but we have a different design next year so we got all these old shirts, right? It just becomes a nightmare and these web stores are just so brilliant and the fact that you don't have to distribute them. You can just have them shipped directly to the person if you want to and the person running the organization doesn't even have to touch the items, which is so nice. It's
Yeah,
just such a great way. And if they
yeah,
need fundraisers, right, it's easy. Parents want to support their kids' teams, they want to support the school, all of that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah,
if they can use it as a fundraiser, it's just another win-win opportunity for everybody. Everybody's used to shopping online and going
yeah.
and buying things and having them shipped directly to your home. So yeah, if you can do that at no cost to the organization and just really tap into, again, Suzanne's knowledge and her team about what is a good hoodie versus you don't want to order stuff, put stuff in your store that isn't going to hold up. So really
Yeah.
talking to an expert about what do people want and helping them walk through what do your clients want or what do the kids want or what do the parents want. Do they want hoodies? Do they want zip up hoodies or pullovers or
Yeah.
what different age groups might want. So I think that's just brilliant, a brilliant service that you offer your clients.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been very well received. People
Yeah,
who end up getting the fundraiser money always say this is so much more than we've ever made in the past. Because if
nice.
you order 50 shirts and you get them and you have 10 left over that you clearance, all of your profit on the 40, you just wasted clearancing the last 10. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this is just so much more efficient for them to make money,
Yes,
for sure.
yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, so again, we're going to put all of Suzanne's information in the podcast notes wherever you're listening or watching the video. You can go to the show notes and find out how to reach Suzanne at Zamar Screen Printing. Is it Zamar? It's just Zamar Inc. What's the website?
Zamar screen printing, Zamar Inc. You're right. The website is zamarinc.com.
Okay,
INC.
good.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
As I started to say, I was like, I think it's
That's
shorter than that. It's just
yeah, me too.
zamarinc.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Any last advice for anybody out there in business that's ready to take a leap and doing something?
Oh man, just do it. Don't be paralyzed by your circumstance. Just because it didn't work today, just do it. You have to try things, you have to be brave. And sometimes it's just taking that leap when you're pretty sure this is not going to work, but just do it. You have to be brave. You didn't get into business to have everything be simple and somebody to tell you what to do. Sometimes you just have to take the leap. You just have to do it. And I'm happy to meet with people. I talk to people for half an hour for free. Run stuff by me. I love to talk marketing, love to talk ideas. Super happy to do that. So if anybody wants to reach out, I would love to chat.
Awesome. Awesome. And they can book a call with you by going to your website.
Yes, there's a link there, and you can put my
Okay.
Calendly in the link to the podcast too.
In the show notes as
Yeah, yeah.
well. Okay,
That'd be
great,
great.
great. That's wonderful. Yes, I highly recommend, as I said at the top of the show, I highly recommend you reach out and have a conversation with Suzanne. You will not regret it, and you'll walk away a better person for it. So, okay. Well, thank you again for being a Leap for Ladies community member, Suzanne, and for being in business for 31 years. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
if our listeners out there are listening and you're thinking, I got to be in a community with this amazing woman, right? I want to spend more time with Suzanne, then consider joining the LEAP community. All of the information about that will be in the show notes as well, but you can go to successmagnified.com and then hyphen join LEAP and get all the information about the Leap for Ladies community. We'd love to have you join us, and then you could have your opportunity to be on the podcast as well. So thanks again, Suzanne, for being on the podcast today. And I appreciate you. And I'm so glad that I get to have you in my business world as one of my mentors and friends. And can't wait for more people to get to meet you.
Thank you so much, Mary. I had a great time.